Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and otherwise. I'm Lamar Haven. Welcome back to Spiral Knights. I am here to give you a video that has been in the making for a while. Not on my end, but on Three Rings' end. You see, Spiral Knights has been updated. You may notice behind me there is a new building named The Lab. And you might notice I have a little companion next to me. Meet Haven Defender. My Battle Sprite. Battle Sprites are a new addition to this game, along with many other changes in this patch. We're going to be going over all of them. Don't you worry. But the Battle Sprite I have is a Seraphynx is the type. There are 3 types that have been added. There's a Dragon one that is meant for mostly up-close and personal combat style. There is a shadow-based one, which is mostly about opportunistic attacks and synergistic attacks. And then there's the Seraphynx. The Seraphynx is based on support. You have multiple abilities, 3 abilities per sprite, but you only start with 1. You might notice also the appetite bar. That is because you have to feed your sprite to level it up. And there are 100 levels to the Battle Sprites. Now, before I get into the Battle Sprites anymore, I'm going to go ahead into the lab so we can discuss things in more detail. Welcome to the lab. Here is where you will be learning the most about the Battle Sprites. This is an entirely new area meant to teach you about how Battle Sprites work and give you the materials and things you need to use them. Over here is Morlin. He will be your contact for most of the tutorial things. There are many new missions available. I say many, there's about 5, I would say. 1 to introduce the concept of Battle Sprites. 3, 1 each to show to give you a test run of the Battle Sprites where you'll get their first and second abilities. And then there is a final one after you've chosen your Battle Sprite at that point, where you get to battle a mini-boss and test the capabilities of the Battle Sprite you've chosen. Now, you might notice down here, the bar has changed. From the right, all the bars are still exactly the same. 4 consumable slots and 1 slot for your Vitapod. However, there are 3 more. Now, if you log into the game today, this is the first day of the update, you probably will have to set up the keybinds for yourself on these 3. Those 3 are all Battle Sprite things. So let's go to Controls. Here you go to Custom to change, and Sprite Action 1, Sprite Action 2, and Sprite Action 3 are what you're going to want to change. I use Q, E, and R because these are the hotkeys I often use when I'm playing MMOs, and I'm used to them. Use whatever you want, and it'll let you know if you accidentally rebind something else that's important, so keep an eye down here for that. You can play this game with a gamepad, by the way, if you are interested in doing so. I'm actually might give that a shot one day, because I'd love to see it go. Mouse movement is how the game used to move. I don't like it. Alright, so you have your Battle Sprite, you've gone through the tutorial missions. The missions, by the way, have now become somewhat less optional, and I'll get into that later. Now, we will be going piece by piece through this entire update. I'm simply starting with the Battle Sprites because arguably they're the biggest change. Over here, you get the Harness Merchant. He will let you buy basic equipment for your Battle Sprite. Crystal Harness, Dark Harness, and Golden Harness all cause them to deal a different type of damage. This is Elemental, this is Dark, or Shadow, I'm afraid, and this is Piercing. The Elite Iron Harness reduces... Oh! I bought a previous Iron Harness, and this is an upgraded version. My mistake, I didn't know this would happen. This will reduce the cooldown of all skills by 10%. The one I currently have is 5. Kind of expensive crowns. I don't know yet if there's a way to get harnesses outside of this, so I'm not going to buy that. Second is talking to Biscotti here. Biscotti will go through a mini tutorial on how to feed your Battle Sprite. I'm going to go ahead and show you what that means. There are through missions, random drops, or through some alchemy in that alchemy machine that was right behind me, you'll be able to feed your Battle Sprite. Here you see Appetite. Every time you feed them, this Appetite bar will go down. Here's their favorite item. Basically, each one has a different elemental style Well, not elemental style, just there's a mote type for each Battle Sprite. His favorite item is a divine mote. However, if I go to divine, you might notice I have more than just the divine mote, which is a 1-star material. I have divine stones, which are 3, orbs, which are 4, and then I have divine stars, which are 5. If you feed it a higher level item, watch what happens to the heat as it increases. Boom, an immediate level up. You have to feed it one more item to level it every time you do that. Boom, my guy has leveled up and he actually got a new perk. He has a damage bonus versus gremlins. These perks are random, and your pet will continue getting perks even at max level. So if you keep feeding it, it'll keep growing in strength. Now, I'm going to go ahead and feed it another Divine Star, and watch what happens to the heat again. The heat doesn't go up all the way, but it's pretty darn close. So I'm going to give it a Divine Stone, feed it, and now it needs a Divine Mote. Unfortunately, I don't have one on me. So let's see if the alchemy machine will let me make one. Divine Mote. I need Luminite up here. The rest of this is done on its own. You might also notice there isn't an energy cost for transmuting. This is across the board, but we're going to discuss that later. But you need the stones that you find on missions now. So if you haven't played this update and you just spent your stones, I'm sorry. You're going to want them. Selling them off for crowns was never very efficient to begin with, but you had nothing to do with the stones. Now you need them. I don't like this. So we need more Luminite to be able to get more of these, unfortunately. You also do get heat just running dungeons and everything, just running in the clockwork, doing missions. They'll also generate heat for your pet. So those are still useful. There's nothing else really to do in here. There's some other areas, but there's nothing interesting. So I'm going to show you what the only attack I have right now for my Battle Sprite does. You point in a direction, press the button, do a little call, and he attacks. That specifically each one is an attack that's specific to your Battle Sprite. That one is a piercing attack. You might notice that my ability is on cooldown. Cooldown 22 seconds. That puts all of your abilities on cooldown, not just that one. Other abilities will have a longer cooldown. So right now my Battle Sprite only has one attack, and it doesn't hit very hard at all. You get your Battle Sprite originally at like rank 2, so very early in the game. Alright, so let's go ahead and talk about some of the other changes. One major change that we're going to go over is there is no more mist energy at all. Mist energy, if you don't remember, was the energy that appeared below my regular energy. Mist energy allowed you to spend it just like normal energy for pretty much everything, but you got like an allotment. Over time you gain more and more. They've done away with that. However, one of the biggest and best changes to me is that energy elevators no longer cost energy to use. I may have mentioned that I got an elevator pass at some point. The elevator pass originally made it so that I could keep going throughout as many elevators as I wanted, and it wouldn't affect anything. So that said, that is no longer necessary. Elevator passes, if you do have one active, they're going to give you something in return for that. Don't worry. And it'll be relatively equivalent. Like the patch notes say, player-owned elevator passes are replaced with 10 radiant fire crystals. I'll explain what fire crystals are later. That's going to be a bit of a rant. I warn you. There are a lot of great changes in this patch, but that one is not one of them. Anyway, player-owned mist tanks have also been replaced because you don't need mist energy. Crystal energy is simply called energy because there's no need for mist and crystal energy to be separated. And there's something about mist wells. I'll be honest, I've never seen a mist well. They're now just called energy wells, and they can be withdrawn for some reason. I don't know anything about that. Now, the revive system has also been dramatically changed. You saw in previous videos, if you watched them, that I would go out and if I got killed, or if somebody else got killed, somebody else would have to run up, use half their health, give it to the person who died, and they'd pop up. And the 30% energy that person lost would go to the person who revived them. That system is gone. Now the new revive system is an emergency revive system. What happens is, say I die, kaput, I then automatically revive after a set amount of time. Once per floor, this is allowed. Each person gets one. And this is per floor, like I said. So say you're doing a Vanadug run, if you die on the first floor, you get your ER back for the next floor. So you're good. If you're brought to the elevator dead, however, you'll instantly use your emergency revive as soon as you hit the next floor. So it's a very good idea. If you die and you don't have an emergency revive, there is an option, however. Sparks of Life. I will show you what these are. There is mine, Sparks of Life. All the missions have had a lot of the missions have had their items revamped for this patch, so you can get all the items that are new to the patch. If you already completed your missions, they send you the items you would have gotten if you did them when this patch hit. So that's why I'm full of items right now, because I already did all the missions. However, the Spark of Life is anytime someone dies, you can either use it on yourself or use it on someone else to revive them. This is your replacement for spending energy to revive people. If you die and you don't have an emergency revive, you might want to use the Spark of Life if you have it. As it says, it doesn't say here, I'm sorry, but you can earn them either via missions, or you can be found in treasure blocks, or you can purchase at the supply depot. If you're dead and you don't have an emergency revive or a Spark of Life, you can spend 50 energy to just revive. Also, Depth's price never escalates. So unlike the old times where if you died you'd use 10 energy, now you have to use 50 from the start, but it can't go higher than that. Alright, so moving on. There's no longer a crown fee for joining arcade gates. Let's see. There's now difficulty modes. You'll start at any mission you can do and different difficulty levels. Normal mode is intended for new players and is easier than what you might be used to if you played before this patch. Lower payouts for crowns, heat is lower, and lower drop rate on materials. Advanced is pretty much exactly what it used to be. Advanced, it's normal, drop rates, everything. Elite is intended for a better challenge. Higher payouts, as well as the highest drop rates. I might be trying an elite run in this video. We'll see. Item changes. Loot, when it drops, is no longer given to random people. And I think I'm going to demonstrate some of this in a mission while I'm continuing to talk. So let's go to Supply Depot. No, not Supply Depot. I'm sorry. I have to leave apparently to use the party finder. So loot now drops per person. If something drops, nobody else can touch it. It's purely yours. What that means is that no longer do you have to worry. What that means is no longer do you have to worry about other people potentially getting drops that you think you really need. If an item drops, nobody else can pick it up and it's immediately yours. You will have the exact same equivalent amount of drops if you're playing, say, Advanced as everybody else as before. So you don't have to worry about getting screwed out of loot. Everybody's still going to have the same drop rate. 2-star materials and higher now only drop from specific monster families. That is to say, if you want an item that drops from goos, you're not going to randomly get it from any other family type. You got to go kill yourself some goos. The decay timers is less for... they removed it entirely for crowns and heat. It's extended for hearts. Players can no longer drop vials and capsules. Some rare monsters have a chance to drop new items, and all missions have been updated with new rewards. There are now equip limits. When I said that you have to do missions now, here's why. Mission rank 3 is required to equip 2-star gear, 5 for 3, 6 for 4, and 8 for 5. Any equipment bound before this patch will become your new equip limit. If you only complete a mission through rank 8, or rank 3, I'm sorry, and you have 4-star gear, you will be able to keep using 4-star gear. So don't worry about that. Oh, my partner left. I will go ahead and head back to Haven while we continue talking. So now, if you were to alchemize items, say I wanted to build Nagus. I still need all the materials, but there's one new one, the Orb of Alchemy. You will get Orb and Alchemy from missions, you will find them as drops, or you can buy them with energy. Now, the Orbs of Alchemy replace the previous use of energy. This is probably a good thing, but I'm going to wager that the Orbs of Alchemy, you need 3 of them. That's probably going to be equivalent of like 1,000 energy anyway for a 5-star item. So I don't think they're really changing anything much there. They're just making energy, they're sort of switching things around. So, that said, alchemy's pretty much not changed very much. You just need the orbs instead of energy. Now let's move on to the part that I very much dislike. You might be noticed there's an icon over here, a new one, and it's got a star next to it. Let me show you what this is. Welcome to the Forge. Heat is a big deal now. Heat and upgrading your equipment is a big deal now. If you want to upgrade, say I wanted to upgrade my perfect Mask of Cirrus, which has enough heat to go to level 8, it doesn't go to level 8 automatically. You need to spend Radiant Fire Crystals. Now, I don't have enough right now, and you see these 3 bars. What happens is you fill up this bar and it'll say 30 Fire Crystals. Here's the problem. You have only a 20% chance of success if you use 30 Radiant Fire Crystals. Now, all the Fire Crystals I got were given to me for completing missions. Wanna guess how many of these Fire Crystals you need? How many I got, I should say? About 120. No, I'm sorry. Closer to 80. Closer to 80. That's just from completing missions. Now, granted, I probably would have had more if I did those missions now, because they drop. But here's the problem. You see, I have 16, because I've done a few missions today, and I've done some runs, and I got more crystals. It costs 60 crystals for a 60% chance of success to upgrade an item. Now, when you upgrade an item and it fails, you don't lose any of this heat. In fact, I failed to upgrade my perfect mask. It still has the heat. I can try again, but I need these fire crystals. There's also bonuses you can get. One of the items I upgraded did get a bonus. It gets 25% more heat when I go in. Now, I'm going to go ahead and show you the supply depot. Here is my complaint. Going to rarity, going all the way to the bottom. Radiant fire crystals are what I need. 50 of them is 700 energy. That is quite a lot. 700 energy, and they're about at 7.8k crowns per 100 energy. That's a lot of crowns to get 50. And the headache is, right now I need 60. So one of these probably won't work unless I find some Radiant Fire Crystals on my own. Also, Evolution Catalysts. These are for your sprites so they can upgrade. You will get some in missions, but you only get one ultimate, and there's a couple others that you really need, like the Advanced Evolution and that kind of thing. So, yeah, that's my big complaint. I don't like that they added this system and made it harder to upgrade your equipment through heat. I'm going to go ahead back into the lab. So that goes over all of the changes that have been in this patch. I'm not the happiest with them. I'm going to be 100% honest. I don't like the Forge. Everything else I love. The Forge is my sticking point, but I can understand why they added it. Because they removed so many ways to use energy, and they made it so you don't get your daily allotment, they need a way for you to burn energy. That's going to be it. And they added the random element of failing to upgrade. That's a feature I don't like a lot of free-to-play games to go. but this game is now doing it. If that harms your opinion of this game, then I'm sorry. I don't see them reverting that change. But I still think that because, especially the biggest thing for me in free-to-play games is that if you play the game, you can get all the necessary, everything that everybody else can get with only in-game playing. If you can earn enough crowns, you can do that. Not exactly something that it's going to be viable, because that's a lot of crowns to spend, but it's still possible. Now, like I said, you can still get crystals for running just anything that's out there, and now you can do so without worrying about your daily allotment of energy. That I really like. So I'm going to go ahead and start a mission. Heart of Ice, I'm going to put it on advanced, and I'm going to say join party, start a party. I'll see you folks soon. Was there any doubt that I would be showing this off in a Vanaduke run? I mean, really? This is on advanced difficulty, so it should be the same difficulty that we played at before the patch. We appear to have someone who keeps going AFK. Well, ignore him for now. Anyway, so I'm going to show what the other folks do. Well, I'm going to show you what the other folks' Battle Sprites tend to do in combat, and hopefully show off the emergency revive system. I won't show off the full run. You guys have sat through that once already. And there aren't enough changes to Vanaduke to warrant it. Alright. Come on, folks. Let's get this started. Now, another of the changes is, you see, while I'm charging, I get a charge bar underneath. Far better way of seeing how long you have to charge rather than, well, memory. Especially since there are ways to reduce how long it charges using Battle Sprites. It's going to take a while before anybody has a Battle Sprite that strong, but it's possible. Oh dear. Let's keep these guys nice and dead. Item dropped. I pick up said item. I'm the only one who got that item. That item is immediately in my inventory. And we have, wow, an amazing amount of lag. Alright, let's hope I can get my health back up and head in. See, none of the heat and coins are being picked up by other players. I have to do it manually. Thankfully, heat and coins don't decay, they don't disappear at all. Hearts also take longer to disappear. I'm not sure why they made that specific change. Probably a balance thing they figured they wanted to do. You might have saw that guy uses Battle Sprite. What his Battle Sprite does is it's sort of a needler attack, a lot like the Blitz Needle. And it will shoot enemies and it'll poison them, for one, which, by the way, I never mentioned, poison has multiple effects. 1, poison keeps them from healing. 2, poison also reduces their attack and defense while it's up. I think they figured they might as well have an effect on it that is besides stopping healing, because otherwise it's useless against enemies who don't heal, which I understand. And so that needle shot also has a second effect. The needle shot from that Battle Sprite will attach the needle to an enemy, and every time you hit an enemy, it'll cause that needle to drop off, and when the needle drops off, it also damages the enemy. So there are also added effects. I never got into the advanced abilities. What happens when you have the abilities advance further and further and you get a higher level Battle Sprite is they'll get a secondary or even tertiary effect. One of the effects that I really liked with the Battle Sprite, as it just showed, as it just shot its attack again, is it can also make it so that when you hit an enemy and the needle drops off, it can make it so that that needle then explodes on that enemy, or it can shoot off that enemy, and if it hits another one, that needle goes into that enemy. So you can have some pretty nasty effects get added to that. I'm moving these out of the way because these guys aren't the best at keeping them from reviving. Okay. So I've showed off that Battle Sprite. There's a Dragon Battle Sprite. You might notice the guy I'm trying to follow has it. Its first ability is simply a fireball. Its second effect is a mini Vanaduke ability. I'm really kind of excited about that one, and it's really useful for melee-oriented Spiral Knights. it causes a fire shield. 1, it increases your defense. 2, it increases your... It makes it so that there's a wall, a circle of fires around you that can damage the enemy. One problem. 1, that Battle Sprite is all about fire. It'll cause fire effects. If there's an enemy that's benefited by that, your Battle Sprite's fairly useless. That being said, you can, like I showed, you can add elemental style effects to any Battle Sprite, and 2, it still does a lot of damage, regardless of that fire effect, so it's still useful in that sense. So that's all 3 Battle Sprites. You've seen someone use the emergency revive a little earlier. I didn't point it out, but the guy died, exactly like he predicted he would, I think, and he used emergency revive. We didn't have to touch him. I'm pretty sure you still lose heat from dying. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to show the entire rest of this floor. Once this floor is over, I'm going to let you guys go, because I believe at that point I've showed everything about this update. So let's go over some of the pros and cons. Cons, heat is a lot more difficult to deal with. I will mention this. If you have items that have enough heat to upgrade to the next level, they will still count against the heat you get per level, I believe. I believe that means you will get less heat from for the rest of your items because of that. Come on, zombie. That's right. Oh, darn it. I took damage. That was dumb of me. Alright, so con is that, honestly. And that's my biggest and kind of only con to the entire situation. The pros are no more elevator charges. You don't have to use energy to upgrade your equipment. And Battle Sprites are amazing. I'm fairly certain they're not used in PvP. I don't know for certain, though. I will give that a shot. And also, as I've may have mentioned in a PvP video, I did show it off at some point, it's that he just uses emergency revive. As I said, when using an emergency revive fills you to full, and we lost somebody. Anyway, in PvP, the only thing you bring with you is your weapon. That's it. Your equipment determines what tier you get into, but you don't bring it with you. You don't have I don't believe you have the effects of it. Everything else is determined by the role you choose. I think this is a good thing, because there are some real power gamers in this, and they would just blast you away in PvP. And since PvP has something that's pretty much universally useful, I wouldn't like that very much. If it was something like, say, World of Warcraft, where getting PvP gear specifically improves you in PvP, I'd probably be okay with that. But since it's universally useful, and you got your PvP and my PvE, I better be able to play it at pretty much the same... I better be able to fight with the same, level playing field, despite the fact that I suck. In theory, if we had the same amount of skill, I should be able to to handle you in the same way. Is sort of my theory on that subject. But and there I go. I died. Emergency revive activating, completely automatic. Poof. I stand. I will not be able to revive through that for free for the rest of this floor. But the net health of the team doesn't decrease because of me. Net health of the team doesn't matter nearly as much, because we don't have to spend it to upgrade each other. And he's activating his emergency revive. That's all the emergency revives we had. Hello. That's all the emergency revives we have, because I'm pretty sure the guy that disconnected is one of the people who died before. So if anybody dies, we're using a revive stone. Being stunned. No fun. Alright. See if I can move that around. Look at me. No, that's not what I wanted you to do. Hello. he used a revive stone. So, oh, come on. I really hate these guys. You get them into these patterns, and sometimes it's just impossible to hit them unless somebody else is with you. There we go. It's because you don't have to share capsules anymore, because anything that drops only for you, it's more incentivized to use them. I shouldn't have used it right there, though. I forgot that you get health from these boxes. Anyway, I've showed off everything in the update, and I hope you guys have enjoyed, and despite my reservations, I want to reiterate, I am extremely positive about this update. Just because I didn't like one change doesn't mean I dislike this entire update. Everything else I love. It is fantastic. Basically, elevator passes for everybody. Yes, please. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my stupid crystals. I'm going to go ahead and get on my stupid elevator. And I'm going to head on my stupid way. I hope you guys have enjoyed watching. And I'll see you guys next time.